are you doing? Need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. All right, cool. It's done. All right, so I made it, y'all. I said 7:37 p.m.-ish because I knew it was going to take me a couple of minutes to get my ish together so that I could get on. Let me put my spectacles on. Y'all, I'm using the summer filter, so I look a lot darker. I kind of like it. I like the tan. I like the whole tan effect. Anyway, this is Tiffany Hicks, the CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and I came on today to share some leadership tips with you for nonprofits. So I mentioned last week before I started like a series about leadership. And so let me tell you what happened. So I came on to talk about nonprofit leadership and an offer that we are going to be making that will start in July. And it'll go through September. And we are doing a class to wrap up and allow me to do an information dump. And I'm doing like information dump on nonprofits, what they need, how to prepare, and all of that good stuff. And I got questions. People DM'd me questions just about leadership itself. So me knowing who I am and all the information I have in my head, I made a decision to kind of switch gears last month in June and talk more about leadership because it kind of applied to everyone. It applied to nonprofits, it applied to for-profits. But I needed to get back on track and have a discussion about the offer that we are putting out, and then also just to talk specifically to nonprofit leaders, board, volunteers, and founders, which is very important. So this live is for you if you are a nonprofit founder and you are trying to get some grant, you're trying to prepare for grants. This is for you if you don't know what your next step is as a nonprofit founder, or if you are really just trying to get your organization off the ground. So why is now important? So it is July, and from July until September, we are going to be offering a class where the fourth Saturday of every month, we will be doing a 2.5-hour training to tell you all the things about nonprofits that you didn't know, but you really need to know, because you need to know these things in order to grow your nonprofit organization. So let me share with you what that's going to look like. First of all, you need to know that we are going to be talking about how do you get yourself prepared for a grant. So tip number one, or gem number one, in order for you to get a grant, you have to have all of your paperwork in order. And what does that mean? Number one, you have to have a solid mission. Number two, you need a solid vision. And then also you need to have your programming together. So what are you teaching? What are you offering? And then what kind of impact are those things going to have? And what kind of impact have you already had? You may want to also know, like, who are you partnering with? When are you offering it? What is the criteria for the people that need to enter into your programming? These things are very important. Not only are they important for when you are preparing for a grant, but they're also super important if you have not even filed your paperwork for your 501c3. You want to make sure you have those things together. Why is that important? Well, because part of the application for your 501c3 tax exemption status, they want to know, what is your mission? What is your vision? What is your programming? Who do you serve? What criteria needs to be met in order for you to serve those people? They also want to know, where do you serve them and how do you serve them? So that's really important. All right, so that's one of the things that we are teaching in the class, right? The other thing that we're going to talk about is, what is it that you need if you've not even filed for your 501c3 yet? Because there are some things that you need. Number one, you need to register with your state as a nonprofit LLC. Number two, you need an EIN. Number three, you need to make sure that you have established your articles of incorporation. Number 4, you need to make sure that you have done some things as it relates to the building of your board. You need a president, you need a secretary, and then you also need to do some meeting minutes. You need to meet with your team because you need to vote those people in. And we're going to talk all about that in our class. What else are we sharing? So we're also sharing what do you really need to build a working board and how do you go about that? How do you put your applications together? How do you interview people to get them on your board? What kind of personality should you be looking for a working board? And that's just a little bit of what we're going to be going over. This week, I will be doing a live every day just to talk a little bit about the different subjects that we'll be offering in our training class. The first training class is going to be on the 4th Saturday of July. And what's important about that is at first we were only going to do an hour, but then I got a lot of feedback from people that they really wanted to hear more. So we extended it to 2.5 hours. Now, what's the cost to you? It is $297 per class. And if you want to buy all 3 of the classes, we'll give you a significant discount. But we will be doing that July, August, and September. It will be the 4th Saturday of every month, and we will put a link in the bio. But until this week, I'll just be talking to you more about what it is that we'll be talking about. So let me give you a couple of things because I dropped some tips and some gems, but I'll be dropping some tips and gems all week. Just to let you know, when you take the class, you're going to get 2.5 hours of me literally brain dumping all the things that I have learned in the nonprofit space. Why is this important? So number 1, you get the benefit of all this education I got. I have a secondary master's degree in community development with a focus really on building nonprofits, building nonprofit plans and strategies so that they can be successful. So that's number 1. Number 2, the other thing that you're going to get is you'll get an opportunity to really pick my brain in the class and ask the questions that you need to ask. So we are going to talk about if you want to start a nonprofit or you know someone that wants to start a nonprofit. We're going to talk about what documentation do you need to effectively file either a short form or a long form for your 501c3 tax exemption status. Number 2, we're going to talk about the steps that you need to take to be prepared to file that application because there's some other things that you need to do first. The other thing that we're going to talk about program development because this is really an area of opportunity for a lot of aspiring nonprofits or grassroots ones that have already started. They really don't have their programming together. It's not written down in a succinct way, and it doesn't really outline exactly what the program is, what you do, who qualifies for the programming, how you're funding it. And as a nonprofit founder or as a leader, you need those things because those are also the things that will lead you to the next thing we'll be talking about, which is having your documentation together so that you can have a significant showing for applying for grants. So the first class that we're going to have, which is going to be on the 4th Saturday of July, it is going to be dedicated to number 1, getting all your paperwork together to structure your nonprofit. That's the first thing. The second thing we're going to talk about is getting your paperwork together to structure your programming for your nonprofit. And then the third thing we're going to talk about is how to use the 2 previous things that I mentioned to be able to position yourself for applying for grants, because paperwork is important. Having your structure together is important. A lot of nonprofit founders or aspiring nonprofit founders are missing out on grant opportunities because their paperwork is not in order. What you put in your paperwork, the words you use, what you say, how you present, what you do really has a massive impact on you getting grant funded, because they do grant funding on a point system and you get points for certain things that you have in order. So again, your structure is important. Your mission is important. Your vision is important. Your programming is important. Who you have on your board is important. Whether or not you have a diverse board and advisory squad of people that can help you be successful, because at the end of the day, you will not get grant funded if they do not believe that you have capacity to stay in existence through the time in which they are grant funding you and after, right? So I want you to think about it like this. Would you grant fund somebody $50,000 if the paperwork they submitted seemed really iffy, like they're not really structured, like they really don't know what they're doing, and they also don't have good support, and they're putting all their money in, so if their money dries up, the organization may have to close? Like, if you were a grant funder, would you give you money? I just want you to think about that, right? Because grant funders aren't just giving the money away. Grant funders are looking for organizations that they can make a significant investment in, which is what the grant funding is. And they are expecting you to have impact. Nobody's going to give you money so you could just pay your salary and then not impact the community, right? You need to be able to show how you are going to impact your community, and you need to also be aware of the need. So not only do you want to be a nonprofit founder, I get that we're passionate about what we're doing, but the question is, do you, one, understand the nonprofit industry? Number two, do you understand the area in which you are providing services? Number three, do you understand the community and the target audience that needs your services? And are you communicating that in a way that is clear and concise? And then also the next step is, are you showing your capacity? What do I mean by that? Do you have a budget? Do you know how much it costs for you to operate your program, how much it costs for each person to go through your program? And then also, do you understand the impact? Can you share the impact that your programming is going to have? And how are you going to use those grant funding dollars? So that's some of the things. That's just a little snippet of the stuff that you'll learn in the training class. So I'm going to go, because I said I was hopping on, giving some good stuff, and then hopping off. But I am Tiffany Hicks, the CEO of VRE Training Solutions. And for a very limited time, we are going to be providing some nonprofit training for nonprofit leaders to help them with what they need to do to get their organization to grow and scale. Or if you are a nonprofit if you don't have one yet, but you desire to have one. So here's who we are looking for. If you know someone that is an aspiring nonprofit founder, they want to actually start up their organization, our training class is perfect for them because it's a $297 investment. If they can't pay it themselves and you're on their board, y'all help them pay for it. It is a professional development write-off. They can take it off on their taxes. As a nonprofit founder, you have the ability to take off professional development on your taxes. You'll learn a little bit more about that in the training. Who else are we looking for? We're looking for nonprofit founders that you've already started your organization, but you really need help with structuring your programming because 1, you want to get more donors, 2, you're interested in sponsorship, or 3, because you really want to get yourself prepared for being funded via grants. Okay? That's the next person we're looking for. Then the next person that we are looking for, if you already started your nonprofit and you know your stuff is jacked up, maybe you've gotten your status revoked. Maybe you have had 3 or 4 sets of 3 or 4 different boards, and you are at your wit's end because you don't know how to get a working board together so that your organization can grow. Then this is actually the training series for you. Again, it's going to be 3 classes. It is the fourth Saturday of every month, starting this month in July. So it'll be July, August, and September. And in those 3 classes, we are going to be offering to you how to get your organization on track so that your nonprofit can be able to actually be impactful in the community, and so that you can really help some people. And this is also good if you're a business owner that want to serve on a board, right? I tell a lot of people, learning about nonprofits and how they're structured and what you should do as a board member is very important, because sometimes you'll get on a board and the leader of the nonprofit doesn't know how to train you. They don't know how to set the expectations for you. But you too can come to this training class and learn how to be the best possible board member so that you can help the nonprofit that you are donating your time and your treasure to be better. Because sometimes the nonprofit leader really needs board members that care enough to develop themselves so that they can help the leader of the nonprofit grow as well. So I'm coming on to share that with you. Again, this is Tiffany Hicks, the CEO of VRE Training Solutions. If you have questions, drop a comment or tag somebody that needs to know about this class. I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front, the class is $297. It is $297 every class. It is 2.5 hours of goodness with me, where I'm sharing my expertise in community development, my expertise in nonprofit development. And if you all don't know, I have worked for so many nonprofits in the last 6 or 7 years. So I really have the ability to share with you, number one, how to grow from grassroots to a capacity building nonprofit. And then also I have the expertise of having worked for multi-million-dollar nonprofits, and I know exactly how you can get there, but it does take work and it does take development. So again, if you have questions, please drop those comments in on this live, or you can DM me. We will get some information posted about how to register for the class, but I will be doing all this month, I will be talking about nonprofit leadership. I will be talking about the class that we're offering, and I'll be dropping some little gems here and there about what it is that you need to do to grow and scale your nonprofit so that you can increase your donations, increase volunteerism, and then also how do you get yourself prepared so that you can receive a windfall of financing via grants, or even via bringing people on to your board that will invest sweat equity as well as money. So until the next time I talk to you all, have a good day. Bye.